He never believed in blind dates. Not after everything he had seen, and everything he had lost. But no one knew that the cold Millionaire CEO, Adrian Hale, was about to say yes to the one invitation that would change his entire life.
People called him heartless. A machine.
A man whose walls were so high that even hope couldn't climb over them anymore. But that night, something felt different. Something pulled him toward a stranger he had never met. And he didn't know why. Adrian had built an empire from nothing. The kind of empire people only dream about. But behind every board meeting, every strategic win, every polished expression, there was a truth he never shared. He had learned success the hard way.
Through cold nights, empty pockets,
and a family that broke long before he could fix anything. Success had given him everything, but taken away his ability to trust. And that was exactly why he hated blind dates. Across the city, a girl named Liana Reed sat on the edge of her bed, staring at her reflection.
24. Working 2 jobs.
Barely surviving. The last thing she wanted was a blind date, especially with a man so rich he probably breathed a different kind of air. But her best friend insisted. And Liana, she had stopped arguing with life a long time ago. She wasn't looking for love.
She was looking for peace.
For a place where she didn't have to pretend she was fine. Inside her, years of struggle were quietly shaping a strength she didn't even realize she had. When Adrian walked into the restaurant that night, he expected nothing. Just another forgettable evening. Another polite conversation he would escape from after 10 minutes. But the moment he stepped inside, he froze. Because the girl who stood waiting near the corner table didn't look like someone trying to impress a millionaire. She looked like someone trying to survive life. Her clothes were simple. Her posture is a little uneasy. Her eyes, filled with a quiet sadness he recognized. For the first time in years, Adrian felt something shift inside his chest. And that moment, just that moment, marked the beginning of a story neither of them expected. Because sometimes, the person meant to change your life doesn't arrive with fireworks. They arrive quietly. Gently. Like a small crack in the wall you swore would never break. Adrian walked toward Liana with slow, measured steps. Like a man entering a place he didn't fully trust. Liana tried to smile, but her hands trembled slightly. She wasn't used to expensive places. She wasn't used to being seen. And Adrian, he wasn't used to feeling anything at all. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The world around them blurred into soft noise. 2 different lives. 2 different worlds. Meeting in one fragile moment of chance. They sat down, a table between them, yet something subtle connected them. Something unspoken but deeply human. Adrian cleared his throat first. "So, you're Liana." She nodded gently. "And you're Adrian. The one everyone talks about." He frowned. "That bad?" She hesitated. Then she smiled just a little. "Not bad. Just distant." Like someone who stopped believing in people. Her words hit deeper than she knew. Adrian wasn't used to honesty. Especially from strangers. Especially from someone who had nothing to gain from telling him the truth. He looked at her closely, really looked. "Who told you that?" "No one," she replied softly. "Sometimes you don't need to hear the stories. You can feel them." That line stayed with him. For a while, they talked. Not about money. Not about power. Not about the world that expected too much from him, or too little from her. They talked about small things. Life. Dreams. Regrets that stayed hidden under the skin. Adrian found himself opening up, carefully, slowly, as if each sentence was breaking a lock inside him. And Liana listened with a gentleness he wasn't used to. But then, the night shifted. Because in the middle of their conversation, a man entered the restaurant. A man Liana clearly recognized. Her whole body stiffened. Adrian paused. "Do you know him?" Liana lowered her eyes. "He shouldn't be here." Her voice was barely a whisper, but it carried fear, real fear. The man walked past their table, ignoring Adrian completely but staring at Liana with cold, unsettling eyes. "Liana," he said sharply. "We need to talk." Adrian felt something dark rise inside him. "That's not how you speak to someone on a date," he said calmly, but his tone carried a warning. The man glared. "This is none of your business." Liana stood up slowly, her hands shaking. "It's fine. I'll handle it." But it wasn't fine. Outside the restaurant, Liana spoke in a low, trembling voice. "Please go back inside. I don't want you involved." Adrian didn't move. "Who is he?" She swallowed hard. "My ex-boss. I used to work at his shop. He still thinks I owe him something. I left because he wasn't safe to be around." Adrian stepped closer, his voice steady. You're not alone right now. For a girl who had spent most of her life fighting alone, those words felt heavier than he knew. But before Liana could respond, her ex-boss grabbed her wrist. Not violently, just enough to remind her of the fear she thought she had escaped. Adrian moved instantly. Let her go. This time his voice wasn't calm. It carried years of suppressed anger and the sharp edge of a man who had spent his life protecting his own silence.
The man glared.
She owes me. No, Adrian replied, stepping forward. She doesn't owe you anything. The tension grew. People in the street watched, unsure.
Liana's breath trembled. Adrian's jaw tightened.
Then the man spat out. You think money makes you brave? Adrian didn't blink. No. But hurting people who already suffer, that makes you weak.
For a second, no one moved.
Then the man released Liana with a frustrated shove and walked away. Liana stood completely still, her breathing unsteady. Liana finally exhaled. Why would you do that? You don't even know me. Adrian looked at her, really looked. You didn't deserve to be treated that way.
No one does.
For the first time that night, Liana's eyes softened completely.
Not because he saved her,
but because someone finally stood beside her without asking for anything in return. She whispered, almost to herself, no one has defended me like that in years. Adrian didn't answer. Because deep inside, he knew the truth. He wasn't defending a stranger. He was defending a feeling he didn't want to lose. A feeling he thought he would never experience again. As they stood under the quiet glow of the street lamps, both felt something shift inside them, a beginning neither expected, but both desperately needed. For the next few days, Adrian tried to bury the memory of that night under work, meetings, and walls he had rebuilt 1,000 times. But Liana's voice, her honesty, the fear in her eyes,
it all stayed with him.
And for reasons he couldn't explain, he found himself thinking about her more than he should. Liana, on the other hand, tried to convince herself that people like Adrian never came back. Men like him lived in tall glass towers. Girls like her lived in small rooms with flickering lights and overdue bills. Yet something about him felt different.
Not wealthy. Not powerful. Just human.
One cold evening, as Liana walked home from work, she saw someone waiting outside her building.
Adrian.
Hands in his pockets.
Heart unsure.
Eyes searching for something he never knew he needed.
She froze.
You came here. Adrian nodded once, his voice low. I wanted to make sure you were okay. Nobody had ever checked on her. Not like this. Not with genuine worry instead of control. They walked slowly up the stairs, the silence between them soft but meaningful. Inside her tiny apartment, Liana apologized for the small space, the mismatched furniture, the quiet struggles visible on every shelf. But Adrian didn't judge. He didn't even look around much. His eyes stayed on her. You're stronger than you think, he said softly. And you deserve better than fear. Liana swallowed hard. Strong doesn't mean I'm not tired.
That line.
It sank into him like a truth he recognized too well. For the first time, Adrian opened up too. Not about money.
Not about success.
But about his childhood, the nights he slept hungry, the family that fell apart, the loneliness money never healed. Liana listened with eyes full of understanding, not admiration. And that was exactly why he felt safe telling her.
Two broken stories. Two different wounds. Yet somehow, they fit.
But the world outside didn't like when two different worlds tried to meet. The next morning, photos of Adrian and Liana appeared online. Some anonymous person had taken a picture of them outside her building. The headlines were brutal. CEO dating poor girl. She's after his money. She's lying about her past. Rumors spread like wildfire. Investors questioned him.
People whispered.
Liana's phone exploded with messages she didn't want to read. And overnight, she became the villain in a story she never asked for. Adrian rushed to her apartment. She sat on the floor, shaking, holding her phone like it was burning her. I didn't want this, she whispered. I didn't want to ruin your life. Adrian knelt beside her. You're not ruining anything. Yes, I am, she cried softly. People like me don't belong in your world. I can't fight this. I can't survive this kind of noise. Her voice cracked. Years of insecurity, years of fear spilling out all at once. Adrian cupped her face gently, eyes firm.
Liana.
I've spent my whole life surrounded by people who wanted something from me. You're the first person who wants nothing. I won't lose you because of lies.
But she looked away. Adrian.
I can't be the reason you fight the world.
He shook his head.
You're the reason I finally want to. Still, the pressure grew. The noise outside became louder every hour. Her past was dragged online. Old wounds reopened. Her dignity was questioned. And by the end of the week, Liana disappeared. Her apartment was empty. Her phone disconnected. No note.
No explanation.
Only silence. For a man who never let emotions control him, Adrian felt something break, a suffocating ache he didn't know he was capable of feeling.
For weeks he searched. Asked people. Checked shelters.
Visited her old workplace.
But she was gone.
And just when he thought he lost her forever,
he found her.
At a small community center on the city's edge. Teaching kids from broken families how to read. Trying to rebuild her life quietly, without hurting anyone again. Adrian stood at the doorway, breath shaking, not from running, but from finally seeing the one person who made him feel alive again.
She looked up and froze.
"Why are you here?" she asked softly.
He stepped closer.
"Because you leaving didn't protect me. It only made me realize how much I need you." Liana's eyes filled with tears. "I didn't want to pull you into chaos."
"You didn't," Adrian said.
"You pulled me out of it." Then came the twist, the truth she had been hiding. Liana told him the real reason she ran. She wasn't just scared of the world. She was scared of losing him the way she had lost everyone else she loved.
She feared she wasn't enough.
She feared she wasn't worthy. Adrian took her hands, holding them like they were the most fragile part of his life. "You don't have to be perfect," he whispered. "You just have to stay."
Liana's voice broke.
"I don't know how to fit in your world." Adrian shook his head. "Then I'll build a world where you do." Silence filled the room, soft, healing, honest. Two people who had spent their lives surviving finally allowed themselves to live. In the coming weeks, rumors faded.
Truth spread.
People saw the real story. A girl who carried pain with courage. A man who finally let himself feel again. And slowly, gently, they rebuilt their connection.
Not fast.
Not perfect.
But real.
And in the end, Adrian realized something he had spent his whole life avoiding. Love didn't break his walls. It reminded him why he needed to lower them. Liana realized something too. She wasn't too small for his world. His world had simply been too empty without her. The final narration faded into a quiet truth. Sometimes the person life sends you isn't there to complete you. They're there to remind you that you were never broken in the first place. Real love isn't about saving someone. It's about standing beside them while they save themselves. And sometimes, the strongest people are not the ones who never fall, but the ones who rise again, even when the world tries to push them down.